It's Sea Duck Again is brought to you by Hackensack Brewing Company and their Imperial Pilsner Auga, which was created in honor of the legendary DJs The Awesome Two. Thick Crates, pure hip-hop satisfaction. Check out their limited edition new releases available now on Instagram. Weaponized Records, an independent music label serving up underground hip-hop. The revolution will not be televised. It will be weaponized. And the Spit Slam Record Label Group. The Spit Slam Record Label Group. A Chuck D situation. Catch us on your favorite streaming platform, on Bandcamp, or visit our official web store at spitslamrecords.com. All releases are available digitally or on CD, with select titles available on vinyl and cassette. The Spit Slam Record Label Group. Throwback to the future sound.
It's C-Doc again.
There must be some misunderstanding. There must be some kind of mistake. What's up, everybody? It's C-Doc again. Welcome to the show. And yeah, that quote's a little fitting because, slight technical difficulties, if you will. But that's all right. We got it worked out. Glad everybody can join us tonight. And new intro. Oh, The Battle, where you been? That's season 3. You've had that intro for a minute. You got to catch up. Anyway, bringing the crew. First up, she got her start at the very first all 24-hour hip-hop station in the world. KDAY, Los Angeles. Our lady from the heyday, KDAY, Jennifer O'Jenny.
Ever in existence.
In existence.
You know what it is. With Soy.
Right? Yes, ma'am. There you go. West Side, indeed.
West Side. There you go.
How are you, Jennifer?
Let's say it right. I'm good. How are you?
I am all right. I am, recovering from a little chest thing, but I'm okay.
Ew.
Yeah, it sucks.
We got a few people doing that. Where's Stewie at? He's under my desk.
Probably chewing on your legs.
Leave him there right now, because where's Stewie at? What in the hell?
Stewie is abusive. So
yes, he is.
Stewie is abusive. I might have to call the cops on Stewie, Jen. Do a welfare check.
He's massively abusive.
Terribly.
You know. Mm-hmm. CPS needs to be called.
Yes, I'm serious. This is. Do we need an intervention, Jen? Come on now.
Somebody said to me, "People are going to think you do drugs." I'm like, okay.
No, Knack, he's not a good boy. He is not.
No, he's really not.
No, not at all.
He's really not.
He's dealing with trauma. I don't know why that was so funny. Also joining us tonight, of course, is a man who needs no introduction because you should be following him on Instagram, and if you don't, you're a sucker, ladies and gentlemen. Ultramax 7.
What's up, party people?
Panty people in the place to be.
Panty people? Wow.
Yeah. Well, you got them, flaunt them.
Yep. Panty people. Yeah.
Y'all get funky.
Yeah. What's good, man?
Staying busy. I'm getting ready to launch new podcast, Prospective. Yes. So everybody look out for that. Should be coming out Friday with it's C-Doc again alum, Mr. Len. So
yes, excellent.
Check for that. Yes.
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
All right.
Len.
All right.
Yes.
And of course, the fourth of the trio, if you will,
The fourth of the trio.
Coming from Chuck G's rap station, the president of rap station, the man behind Hip Hop Gods. Ladies and gentlemen, Flatline.
Kaboom, kabam, kabingo, kabongo.
Wow.
He's like the AI hands. He's the sixth finger on a hand that only has 5 fingers.
Right. That's right.
Yep.
So, Flatline, how are you?
Doing all right.
Fantastic.
This show.
Yes. And I see our guest is here, and he has way better lighting than all of us combined. And
right?
So
and a way better background.
He's just killing it right now. So if we're gonna bring him on, so he can put us all to shame. This guy has produced some of the my favorite records of all time.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest records of all time.
Yeah.
I'll say it. It needs
to be said.
Come on now. This West Coast legend. Fuck that. Fuck West Coast legend. Just legend. Hip hop legend.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Boogeymen, please welcome Rashad Coes.
Yeah.
What's good, fellas?
West
and
Side.
sis, how you doing, Jen?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for being here, man. Because, I hope I should have written down my questions, but I'm just so excited about all this. But getting to talk to you, I mean, come on, man. It's safe to say that we all grew up on your music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I kind of grew up on it too. So,
well, there you go. And there's that too.
Right.
Exactly. So this is so cool. But before we get into all that, what do you got going on right now? What's new and interesting in your world?
Well, it's funny you said West Coast legend because I'm originally from Chicago and now I've been living in Jersey now since 2008.
Hey.
Yes.
All right.
So
Jersey.
But yeah, I'm doing a lot of production now, a lot of live shows. I have a company, Beamformer Entertainment, and we do a lot of live gigs. I have a company that I supply a lot of live sound. I'm sitting in my podcast studio that I rent this out, and it's also doubles as a recording studio. You can't see it, but there's a full console sitting here and a few sets of speakers. There's a live room over there, and I was at Paramount for a while, doing a lot of I'm a nerd, man. So I did a lot of like design and building live spaces. So that was kind of something that I did. I just picked up on the side, man. I owe it all to hip hop though, because without hip hop, I would have never even dreamed of even going this far.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
but yeah, we got a lot. I got some music on. I'm working on an EP for myself. Jesus, 35 years later. But
yeah. Damn straight.
Yeah. Never too late.
Yeah, right. Come on.
I'm still in contact with a couple of the cats. I reached out to King T recently and sent him some music. So hopefully we'll get him back on the mic real soon.
And that is something that definitely needs to happen. I sent King T a song. I'm still waiting to see if he does that. So, come on, man.
Right.
Come on, King. Let's go.
Well, it is Tila, so
I know.
That.
And he is a member of the Witness Protection Program, right, Rashad?
Yeah. That's a funny inside joke. Yeah, those cats. I mean, it's like they change their numbers like every 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 minutes.
So literally, you might call them one day, and you talk to them for like 2 hours, and then you call them tomorrow, and that number's off.
And who did I tell you? We were talking about it the other day, and I said,
I think you was
somebody. Who was
it? Battle Cat?
No.
Or was it
Muffler?
Somebody.
Oh,
Muffler.
Oh yeah.
Said Pooh and Bobcat were in the witness protection program because you never hear from them.
Yeah,
Can't ever find them.
Yes, good guys, man. It was all that whole era, man. It like shaped my whole thought process on music and how to put together sounds, and I'm really grateful for being a part of that.
Okay, so you're from Chicago originally. When did you go to the West Coast?
Well, I was doing the summers in Cali. My parents split up when I was pretty young, so my dad moved out to LA, and so I would spend the summer there. my summer vacation was spent in Cali. So, and then I went to high school there a couple of years, and then I came back to Chicago and eventually came back out to LA. I believe that was in 89, 90.
Okay.
And that was right about the time when it was a funny story. I I actually started off like playing keyboards with this band that kind of sounded like Ready for the World.
Wow.
And so I went over, and so one of the guys, the front guy for the group, brought me over to Pooh's crib. He was somewhere in I believe it's Gardena somewhere. And I played him the music, and I mean, you should have seen like all these hard ass gangsters just looking at me like I was crazy. It was like, nah, man, that ain't it. But he didn't kick me out, and he just let me hang out for a while. And he had a drum beat. He had a drum beat up, and he had a keyboard there set up. So I just started playing a bass line for that drum beat. And he was like, "Oh shit, that's hard." And the very next day, I was up at Echo Sound recording.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah. That was it. I mean, and we ended up the track ended up being a track for a cat named Big Mac that was signed to Def Jam. Sean McLemore, rest in peace. But yeah, that song ended up being on the first single for his record, and that was the first time I'd ever been in a recording studio ever.
Wow. But how long had you been playing music at that point?
Well, my mom that's where I get all my musical stuff from. My mom was a bass player.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she played bass at her church. So, I think that story has been well told. I think everybody who kind of grew up with a parent that was involved in the music program at their church, that means you were involved with the music program at the church.
Yeah.
So, it's choir rehearsals, and and the musicians were cool enough to let me just kind of work my way around and learn the songs that they were playing, and that taught me how to, chord structure, harmonies, and stuff like that. So eventually, when I could afford to get my own little synthesizer, then I started, branching off from there. But, before that, it was, everything was Roger and Prince, and, and eventually, yeah, I don't know, man. You hear, the first time you hear, I think we could probably all go back to the first time we heard like, Freedom or Planet Rock or whatever it was, and everything just went out the window from there. It was hip hop for life from there on.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, um, when did you? I guess working with Pooh gave you your taste of producing records.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give shouts out to Pooh because that was that experience. I gotta. It's kind of like going to college, you know. It was like a hands-on experience. You know, obviously, you know, I'm the low man on the totem pole, so I had to carry all the records and set up all the gear. And, you know, once I got to a point where I knew what I was doing, you know, they'd be off doing their thing, doing the star thing, and I would be in the studio with the artist, tracking them and recording the artist and, you know, sequencing and making sure, you know, all the tracks got laid properly, which actually was probably the best education I could get because that taught me how to, you know, how the studio works. And I'm hanging out with the engineers and, you know, asking questions and things like that. So yeah, it was probably the best education that I could get.
Wow.
Yeah, Full Sail. You can't pay for that at Full Sail.
No, not at all. Now, I tried to do a little bit of research to find your first production credit, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Somebody Farted by Bobby Jimmy and the Critters. Is that right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's funny. It's not, you know, small, humble beginnings, man. That's what can I say? You know, I mean, you know, I used to, Russ Parr used to be on the radio in LA, and he reached out to Pooh and he was like, yo, we need these skits for the morning show. And Pooh and I sat down and, you know, we came up with these skits called Beeper Man. and they used to play in the morning. It was just like these comedy things that we would do in the morning. And then Russ came over and he was like, oh yeah, I want to do some records. And and we did and we came up with that masterpiece, Somebody Farted.
Roaches.
That was actually Roaches was before I came in. I did I did that song, and then he had a song called Hair or Weave that was
Mm-hmm.
And a little sidebar, that was me actually singing on that record too.
A throwback to his Ready for
right.
Witness protection program.
You can edit that part out. I'm cool with the world not knowing that, but could have kept that to myself.
You're live, baby. You're live.
It's hilarious because I hadn't heard him and I forgot it was a Hammer parody. You know,
right?
Yeah. So, oh boy,
that's Russ Parr was the Weird Al Yankovic of hip hop.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know Russ Parr was Bobby Jimmy, and the Critters. Tell them who the Critters were, Rashad.
Oh wow.
Gemini,
Arabian Prince.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all these
General
guys.
Jeff.
General Jeff. All these guys are like LA legends. Like, you know.
And when Jeff left, it was a guy who they called Buckwheat.
Right.
Who was Arabian's friend Kenrick.
Right.
Yeah.
We did believe it or not, we actually went on tour and I remember we were at I believe it was Kemper Arena or somewhere in St. Louis or something, or Kansas City. I believe it was Guy, maybe, I don't know if it was Salt and Pepper, but it was a couple. It was like a mix of R&B and rap. And I think when we went on stage, it was maybe like 400 people in the like 10,000 seat arena.
Oh.
But I mean, it was fun though. I mean, it was, that was my first time ever going out, like doing a tour or anything like that. And I had only been in I had been in LA maybe a year.
Was it with Bobby Jimmy?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Were you?
Thanks for that memory, though.
Here's what I'm going to ask you. Were you at the filming? Now, what video was that? It was at Warner Brothers in Burbank, and it was a Bobby Jimmy video.
No, I was never in any of the videos.
And we were all there, all of us from K-Day.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, when he started doing videos and stuff like that, I was, at that particular time in my life, in my career, I was just like really, I played the background a lot, So that's, so when the camera started rolling, I was sitting over on the side, or, probably looking more at the cameras, trying to learn how to use the cameras more than anything.
Gotcha. When did you guys officially become the Boogeymen?
It's funny because I'm telling this story and it just feels like, oh wow, it was that easy or that simple. I mean, but it wasn't like some large event. Like back in the day, Cube had a studio in LA called Street Knowledge, right near like Crenshaw and I believe that was Florence, around the corner on Victoria Avenue, and recording studio there, and we had myself, Pooh, and Bob had signed. We were going to sign a recording deal with Street Knowledge. And so in order to get to the offices upstairs, you had to leave out of the studio, walk up the street, and go into like an alley. And there's a stairway, outdoor stairway that you go in to the offices upstairs. So we're going to sign these contracts. And Pooh was like, what's our name? Like, and by the time we got to the stairs, I was like, I don't know. We make people dance. We the Boogeymen. And he's like, okay. And that was it. And then we just went upstairs and said, so what's your name? Oh, we're the Boogeymen. And that's it. And
wow,
they wrote it down and drew up some contracts. We actually, I gotta reach out to Pooh and see if he still has it. But there's an actual Boogeyman album.
Mm.
Oh,
wow, really?
Yeah. Yeah, we did it back in, I want to say 91, maybe.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Put out by?
It did get put out. The hilarious thing about that is that all the songs were just like, they were like Super Nigga. Everything was funny. Everything was just like comedy. I remember one of the songs was called Stop Begging. And it was just about girls who ask you for money and beg for money. We had another. Man, we were kids. I just want to let y'all know, man, we were kids.
Yeah, no, right.
So we had a song called God. As an adult with an adult son, this just feels so stupid just to be saying. But we had another song called Panties Are So Funky. And yeah. But yeah, it was like, we just had silly songs like that, man. And it was like, but they were, obviously, we were trying to be clever with the lyrics, and we had, everybody that was around at the time. Cube was around, obviously. KD, he was around. Obviously, and then later on, the Alcoholics were coming around a lot. So yeah, so it was like a cool little, melting pot and a little pressure cooker that you had to be in there to stay on.
Wow.
Right.
Damn, man.
I want to hear this album so bad.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
91?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was like 80. Yeah, it was around 90, 91, somewhere around there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to him and see if he has it somewhere. We were doing some really dope stuff too back then. There's in the world, somewhere out here in the world, there's a version of Anita Baker's "Been So Long" that I recorded, that I produced the music and recorded it for Aaliyah. And she recorded the whole song. We did it, mixed it, everything. And I don't know whatever happened to the song.
Wow.
But yeah, I've been moving back and forth, and you know how that tapes work and everything. So I've long since lost it. But yeah, there's like there's so many songs. Rest in peace, Trouble. We MC Trouble, we may have done maybe 30 songs with her.
Wow.
And her dad.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of music out there that's just, this unheard by the public, that's just sitting there. I can't even tell you how many songs I did with Cube that he never put out.
Oh man. Was the album set to come out on Street Knowledge, or?
Yeah.
It was just okay.
Yeah, it was set to come out on Street Knowledge. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's crazy it didn't come out. Street Knowledge, like everything affiliated with that, was just huge.
Yeah.
People would have snatched it up like crazy.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, and then we were, every time King T did a show, we jump out on stage and do Super Nigga or something, So everybody kind of knew about the group, locally in LA. So everybody kind of knew about the group, and our circle, people knew about the record. But I don't know. I wasn't hip to whatever the politics, involved in why it never hit the street.
Right.
I told you the other day on the mixtape, I love that song. That's one of my favorite hip hop songs. Like, that song is so creative, hilarious.
Yeah.
I remember we had the promo, and I don't know how we got the promo, like the 12-inch promo, but we played it, and my boy Earl was like, "Yo, this thing is just crazy." He loved it. Like, we all loved that song. That song's amazing.
Yeah, we literally wrote that in one. Obviously, wrote it in one day. But yeah, we were sitting around. First, it started with just me and Pooh on the record, and we were and he wrote his bars. We were sitting in. He had a studio at his house at the time, and we were just sitting in the studio, just kind of writing. And every time he'd write a bar, he'd say it, I'd bust out laughing. And then I'd write a bar, and he was like, "Oh, that's funny as shit. Oh, say it like this." And so we were just, yeah. It was like just weird, man. I mean, it was just back then. I mean, it was just, everything was just fun for us. It was just, I think it was a really cool time back then, because obviously hip hop was just blowing up and getting the recognition that it deserved. And we were just there to have a good time, man. We went, it wasn't about, it was no beef with nobody, especially since in LA, everything could be very territorial or, turf driven. And, coming from Chicago, I used to wear a lot of Chicago Bulls,
Oh, yeah.
So, coming around, they give me a hard time. But at the end of the day, it was still respect for the music and everything. And at the end of the, everything was, it was all about the music. And they just respected the fact that, that I was just there to do the music, man. And yeah, it was fun. I mean, obviously the stuff with, Dell, the funky Homo sapien, you know, the sleeping on my couch, all that stuff. I believe that song was ours before Dale got on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's a good segue. I guess we could talk about it. Wish my brother George was here.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. What's cooler, Dale used to actually, when Dale came from up north down to record, I guess Cube had him sitting in a hotel, and all he would do, he would never leave the hotel. He would just sit in the room all day. And so he was just like, dude, you gotta get out of this hotel. You gotta go, you know. So Cube asked me, he's like, hey, can Dale just come stay with you? And I had a recording set up at my apartment. And I was like, yeah, cool. This dude sat up, and I want to say maybe 70% of that record, he just did it. I mean, the dude he's clearly a genius. Yeah. But yeah, he was just, some of the beats he was making himself, or he would get beats from us, or, you know, ideas from Cube, and he would just sit there and just get down. The dude was, I mean, prolific. I'd sit there and he'd have 7-8 songs done in maybe 2 or 3 days. For us back then, you know, that's not saying a lot now. Cats do 12, 13 songs in a half an hour. But, you know, when you're talking about, you know, beats, melody, you know, relevance and things like that, you know, you had to really be on top of your record game, and you had to be like a historian and be able to dig, you know, digging through the crates is a talent and a skill all to itself. So yeah, the cat was, you know, he was a lot younger than us, but he was really he was definitely a technician when he came in the studio. A lot of respect for Dale.
Wow. Okay, that brings up when did you start collecting records?
Jesus. I think you know, we all kind of have that same, you know, our parents, you know. Yeah. It started off, you know, my parents, my dad was really into blues, and, you know, that Mississippi Delta type blues, and my mom was into like the northern soul stuff, like the real fast funk. Yeah. So we had everything in our record collection, from the Mississippi 5 Blind Boys all the way to Janis Joplin and everything in between. And then when I started going out buying records, I think I may have been maybe 9 or 10 at my first. And I'm telling my age anyway, but I mean, we all know. I think my first 45 I went and bought was the Jimmy Castor bunch.
Wow.
Yeah, like I went and bought that, and there's this song, I can't remember the name, but it was like, you know, back then. And from there, you know, as a teenager, I started DJing, obviously, and, you know, record pools and buying records. And I worked at a record store at the time. So, you know, I used to give myself the 5-finger discount there.
Yeah.
And
we all did it. I know.
Right. And yeah, and then a cat named Aaron had a record store called Madhouse Records. Rest in peace to Aaron too. Dude was one of the best cats ever. And he had a record store, and he had, you know, every popular record and every vintage record that was out, he had it. And eventually he closed his shop, And yeah, he let me come in, and I went and probably got 2 of everything, and filled up an entire storage unit with it.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, just over the years, I think, we all just I think I have, where is it? It's not in here, but I have maybe 3 copies of De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising unopened.
Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I definitely got a death certificate in there somewhere that's still in the plastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Do you want an address? I mean, I can give you.
I'm sorry, you breaking up, bro.
All right, so that's a good segue into talking about death certificate, which is for a long time I've kind of reevaluated because I'm older now and there's a lot of records, but like for the longest time it was like it was one of my top 3 all-time favorite albums. And it's probably still up there because I think it's definitely, I think, Cube's masterwork as far as like the vision he had for that record. And so how did you guys approach, bringing that vision to life?
So I remember the Pooh and I are out at Bobcat's place, and he said, "Hey man, Cube's coming over." And I was like, "Oh shit, Ice Cube's coming over." So I went in the studio and I started putting together, my little selection of what I was gonna play. Back then, it was, you would load up the drum machine and just play the beat. It wasn't, it wasn't on tape. We didn't have a cassette of it.
Right.
We were just loading. So I had discs, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna play this stack of beats right here. And he came in and listened, and he was like, let's do it. And I think it took maybe another month before he actually got in the studio and started working. And so we, moved all the gear up to the studio. I believe it's back then it was called something else, but it's called American Studios now. It's on Santa Monica Boulevard in Vine. And we set up, and the vibe is, he had the Brothers from the Nation there, so it was a lot of information and knowledge being dropped.
Yeah.
And we just sat in the I remember the day that Bobcat actually came up with the loop for Bird in the Hand.
Oh my God.
And then, from that point, I think Pooh is a master at just like grabbing those little samples, those little snippets of sound bites, so he had the Sesame Street thing and just dropped that in, and and I think I played bass on it, and I played a little background keyboard stuff on it, and Jinx was there obviously, and obviously the stuff that he did on the record is like, this dude is, Jinx is another story unto itself. You guys should definitely get him. You can wrangle him. You can
talk to him. Yes.
Yeah, you can wrangle him down. He's entertaining, definitely. And but yeah, we literally like just being in the lab, creating. Everything was just kind of on the fly. It was, we had an And we were just, one day it was Bird in the Hand, next day it was my summer vacation, the next day, I mean, and everything just started imagine just being this dude, and every song literally was just coming to life day after day after day after day. And those were just the songs that actually made the record. We're not talking about the ones that he actually rapped to that didn't make the record.
Wow.
And because Cube used to come to the studio with these 3-ring binders, and he might have 2 or 3 of them. And I remember I'm playing beats, and he's literally like flipping through pages of rhymes that he'd already written. And he would just say the verse all the way down. I don't like that one. Flip the page, rap this, and next thing you know, he had the whole record in these binders. The dude was like, he did that with the next record too. I literally just sat there and just watched him record with just these binders. He wasn't writing in the studio. He would, I don't know what he was writing to, what was in his head when he was writing, but the guy would just sit down and would just write. And when he showed up at a studio, I think that's probably one of the things that I noticed and I took away from that experience too. He showed up to the studio prepared. It wasn't like, let me practice. He would go in, do 3 takes maybe, and walk out of the studio. And that was it. That's, if any of the young cats, that are listening to this or watching this right now, it's like, show up prepared, man. Yeah. Don't, just because you got the studio, you got it blocked off, don't sit there for 14 hours, man. Just, do your thing and keep it moving. I mean, because the vibe is always the vibe. Once you hit that thing, man, it's, it's magic then. But if you're just trying to create it, it becomes a job, man. And I don't, I'm really grateful to be around so many cats that were so, not saying, that fuckery didn't happen, but
right.
But when it came down to the studio, to the actual in the room itself, nah, it was all 100% business.
That I never thought of there being like extra joints from those sessions, just because that album seems so like, thought out and tightly controlled. Like every piece is like of the puzzle was like supposed to be there.
Yeah, I don't. It's you could see Death Certificate's influence on like a Kendrick Lamar, and how the album tells a story and it's weaved together in a way that everything matches the next thing. It's like telling a progressive story with each track.
Yeah.
And and as we were doing that project, I literally, I think he may have had maybe a few more ideas. Definitely had way more ideas on things he wanted to say. Some of the things he was saying was probably, for the time, could have gotten him in trouble. So maybe it was the record companies, maybe it was their influence to say, maybe, we might want to pull these records, or let's not put this out. But
Cube, I mean, inflammatory.
He got in trouble anyway.
What?
Yeah, I mean, and think about the stuff he actually, did get in trouble for.
Right.
If those records would have come out, it would have been pitchforks and torches. No doubt.
Okay, so I've got a question about the Predator album, because Don't Trust Them that you did, Did you guys, because there's a, if I recall correctly, there's like a back mask in that. And it sounds like he says in 91. Did you guys record that early? And then that ended up on the record?
I think it was 92 or 94. I can't remember. But yeah, it was, I think it was 92.
92, yeah. 92. Okay.
Yeah, it was 90. Yeah, it was flipped backwards because he didn't want the date to be on it.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's right, because Predator came out in 93, right?
Right.
Was it 93?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right. That's funny. That I sampled that it's a Steely Dan track.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. And this is funniest thing. I'm at a store and I'm walking back to my car and I notice an old cassette laying in the parking lot. I pick it up, tape pop, broken. Never heard of the group before, so I just took it home, popped it open, taped it back together, put it back together, threw it in the cassette deck. It's Steely Dan's greatest hits.
Wow.
I was like, oh, this is Bob. And I listened to it over and over, and I ended up sampling the Green Earrings, I think.
Yeah.
Because we sampled something else off of that for we can get into that later, but we for the St. Ives commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sampled another song from Steely Dan.
Yeah. Wow. Did you have any trouble clearing it?
We got sued a lot. Yeah. Yeah, they're not gonna lie. I mean, yeah, my pockets definitely could tell that tale very well. We we got sued a lot. We haven't talked about it, but some of the things I did with Yo-Yo, Cam, and all that, yeah, I got hit.
Oh wow. Well, yeah, I was gonna ask because you did a couple joints on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got sued for both of those.
Wow,
man!
Mama don't take no mess.
Yeah, we got sued. We got sued for that. Mm-hmm. And the Every Single Weekend joint was at the time was a very little known artist that I got his CD in a gift bag at Jack the Rapper or one of these BREs, one of these music conventions.
Yeah.
So when I got back to the house, I'm listening to all this new music and I'm listening. I was like, oh, that's dope. I'm sampling that. Nobody's going to hear it. Yeah. And then, Lenny Kravitz blows up like a year and a half later. And here they come.
Yeah.
We got hit nice with that. But that was, it was a dope record. But
yo, man, those are two of the dopest songs on the soundtrack. So
yeah, we got I think we got the James Brown sample is what we got hit for.
Oh, okay.
In that record.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, I said enough, and I would get everything cleared.
Yeah.
Watching that check go away, bro. Man, that's harsh.
That's rough. So then you worked on Cam's Never Again.
Yeah, Cam was another interesting artist because he didn't have a lot of people in the studio. He would just come to the studio by himself, or maybe Solo might be with him, or it was just him.
Yeah.
And we would just sit in the studio and he would have Never Again. He actually told me that he wanted to use the Zap sample. He said, I want to rap over this. And I just got busy and started looping it up. And you know, obviously as a you know, being a producer and you're an artist too, so you don't want to just use the same part of the loop that everybody else used.
Yeah.
You know, so we had to find different ways to flip it, you know. So I think nobody had used Heartbreaker. Nobody had used that part of the song of that loop before. So, you know, I just looped that part of it and then kind of ripped off, you know, Atomic Dog a little bit and, you know, kind of ran that under it. But yeah, I mean, that dude, he's another one. I think lyrically, between Cam and Deadly Threat, those two dudes lyrically, as far as I'm concerned, nobody was touching them in LA at that moment.
Yeah. Yo, Threat is so the Sick in the Head. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That record is ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't remember. Well, yeah, I'm old man disease, bro. I can't remember half the names of these songs. Me, especially say, yeah, I forgot somebody farted. I probably did that on purpose. But yeah, the guy Threat is another one lyrically, man. It's like he was left. He was like so. Everything he did came out of left field, but the way he said it he was so. Yeah, it's hard to put into words how talented that guy is.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, yep. Shout out to Threat.
Yeah, that's such an underrated record, and I'm like, it's crazy how you know, people missed it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, because I think that, you know, his record definitely would have been like the next record in line. He was, as far as I was concerned, I felt like he was the next in line. Yeah. You know, obviously, you know, we had the, you know, on the other side of town, you had the you know, the Dre's and the Snoop Dogs doing their thing.
Right.
Which a confession, somebody had slipped us a cassette of the Chronic before it came out, and we was sitting in the studio listening to it, and my dumb ass literally got up and walked out. I was like, yeah, it's all right. And I mean, and arguably probably one of the greatest albums ever made. And I was just like, you know, because I think at the time I wasn't really so into the like, I had a lot of, you know, I had family in New Jersey and New York, so I would always be going back and forth. So my thing was all drums. Everything was drums and bass.
Yeah.
You know, low key, you know, I was working with some of the Killer Bees. You know, they would fly out to LA, or I would fly out to New York and do beats for them. I was doing stuff with I did a couple of joints. I did a joint for K Solo, never came out.
Wow.
Yeah, I had. It's weird because you know, I'm known for being on the West Coast, obviously, for the records that I did with Cube, and the whole Street Knowledge family and that whole tree of artists. But yeah, I was doing a lot of, you know, stuff on my own, you know, off, you know. I think I took 2 years, and, you know, I was just practicing, you know, learning my craft on the keys and whatnot. And I did like a short tour with Janet Jackson.
Wow. Damn.
I did I produced, and actually I think I rapped on a jazz record for Candy Dofer. It's a jazz artist.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, that can't be right. I'm like,
yeah,
maybe they messed up the credits or something. I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
you know,
okay.
and then later on, you know, I started doing a lot of mixing. You know, I did a lot of mixing with actually I did a lot of mixing with Death Row.
Okay.
You know, I was doing a lot of stuff over there. Obviously, I don't know if you probably had that. I did some work with that Banging on Wax project.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the East Side, West Side. I actually did that joint, and they actually used it on the wow, what movie is that? Sunset? Was it called Sunset Park?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah. Sunset Park. Yep.
Yeah, and they actually used that on that album, and I think they gave somebody else the credit, but I did the beat.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, man.
Yeah. And, you know, then obviously like the local stuff. I don't know. Jen, you'll probably know the relatives. These cats, young cats out of LA. They were little kids when I met them when they were doing the Banging on Wax stuff, and then they started doing their own thing. And in LA, there's a song that I did for them called Like That. That and you know, I had long since moved out of LA by then. And somebody sent me a video of some pool party or something. It may have been like 500 kids. They were all younger than my son, and they were all singing that song. I was like, wow, that's dope. That's kind of dope. It's like a hood classic, you know. I mean, you know, it's dope to be, you know, obviously to have the critical acclaim, to work with Cube and have that feather in my cap. You know, that's in the history books, can't be taken away. That's dope. But to have like a hood classic, right? Man, that was dope.
Yeah.
An LA hood classic.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a West Coast hood classic. I mean, you know, rest in peace, P. Brazy. But yeah, you got, I mean, you know, yeah, the Bloods had a good time with that
record. All right. Yeah. So, well, talking about more favorites, we got to talk about Gorillas in the Mist.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That record is like a firebomb, man. That's
insane.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would probably be mad at me for saying this. I mean, but it's probably obvious too. But we were working on that album. I was working on beats for Woody, and a couple of other cats would, you know, we submit beats, and Cube had all the songs written. He had basically had everything written, and he would record it, and then the brothers would come in and they would do their part. And I think JD would probably, some of his stuff he wrote. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he did that happened with every song, but definitely Gorillas in the Mist. Because I remember I just freaked out when Cube just went with the boom, ping, ping. And I was like, oh, snap. And I was like, and I remember, and I distinctly remember Cube saying that. So I was like, and then, you know, they obviously did their thing on it. You know, Shorty was he was real. I mean, he was definitely the soul of that group, because, you know, all of the social commentary and the political stuff they were talking about was definitely because of the influence of the Nation in the studio.
Yeah.
There's a lot of brothers in there with bow ties on. you know.
Yeah.
And welcome though, you know. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't a problem. It wasn't no disrespect or anything, you know. But it was definitely, you could, you know, the energy was about trying to say something or do something that was revolutionary as far as, you know, the music. I mean, you know, obviously, me, Pooh, and Bob, you know, we were kind of, you know, class clowns in the group, but at the same time, you know, when those records was on, he was like, yeah, we need these, you know, because Cube had just come off of Kill at Will, you know, with I'm sorry, America's Most. And, you know, obviously working with you know, Hank Shockley and all them cats, you know, this the level of intensity on those records was just like we had to somehow match that intensity, right?
Yeah.
So it was, you know, it was, but still, you know, come out with the funk, man, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it just had to be, you know, obviously West Coast is known for the funk, so we definitely had to have that element. And that's another thing that I bring back, and with so much respect to Kendrick as well, because the songs he had, especially with like To Pimp a Butterfly, it felt like, you know, we was going back and feeling that same, you know, it felt like, you know, George Clinton was on those records, you know. It sounded like the beginning to I Wish My Brother George Was Here, you know, and to hear George Clinton on those records that we were doing. It's funny story about that too. We were in the studio working on believe it was Death Certificate, and no, it was Dell's album, and George Clinton walks in, and clearly I'm you know, I'm starstruck. I'm like, oh, it's George Clinton, yo. And he goes in the studio, and now everybody's crowded in the studio. They, you know, firing up the blunts and whatnot. And track rolls. George Clinton is like, he's listening, and he just took his headphones off and he slammed them down on the podium, and he was like, God damn it, I'm gonna leave this studio right now. And we were like, oh, what happened? If y'all don't pass me that motherfucking weed. And he was just sitting. I mean, he was sitting in this. I mean, we were sitting in the studio after he recorded, and he was like, "Yeah, man, you know, you got to be able to talk to your band members, but you don't want them. You know, you got to do it in a cool way." And he was like, "So so he pointed to the drummer. He said, so if I told the drummer, drop duck butter, I'm what the fuck is he talking about?" and he was like, drop duck, and then the drummer, it was a drummer that was with him, and he got on the drums, and when he said that, he hit the riff to tear the roof off the sucker. It was and it was like, this dude he's a mad genius, man.
Mad scientist. Uncle George, man. He's a mad scientist.
Yeah. I've had a couple of run-ins with him at he was doing some stuff for Dre too, and I was at a studio working with him on that.
Yeah. Yep. I got to work with him once. So, and it was funny. He sent me some parts, like, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. I thought it was, oh, that's great. And then the next day I got like a whole nother song worth of stuff. I'm like, oh my God. I was just like, it was crazy. I thought I was going to get this. And then I just ended up making 2 joints out of the whole thing. It was crazy.
Yeah. I'm in Hollywood just walking down the street, and I'm walking to a liquor store or something. An old raggedy Datsun raggedy car, maybe 4 or 5 different colors. Open the passenger side door, and out comes George Clinton. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, good dude, weird cat though. But I'm saying, I mean, and I think it's a little bit of, obviously, a little bit of genius can be a little bit of,
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Most definitely. Yep. Yeah. So I slept on this record for a long time. I just recently, within the past, I don't know, 6 months, discovered the Nefertiti album.
Yeah. I think I did a remix for that. Miss Mother Nature.
Yeah.
That's wow. That's another one as far as I highly slept on, underrated.
Really dope.
Female MC from LA, bro. Like very, very, very talented. I would she had the star quality. I have no idea. I wasn't involved with the promotion side or how people promoted their projects or whatnot or managed their careers, but I just felt like I was just honored to be on the project because I mean, as far as she was doing live shows, she was probably one of the few MCs that I saw that probably had a local record out, but was doing big shows. She was just out, obviously, back then we had clubs like United Nations and Water the Bush and those clubs, that Ice-T had put together with Africa Islam. And and she would just, she would be all over those shows, killing it. And I didn't.
The same Nefertiti that was on Mercury with Yag Fu Front.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Dope artist. Yeah, that was a fun record. It was just like, that was just done in the studio. You spin up the reel and you copy off the stuff off the original master that you want to use. And hopefully they made the right notes, back in, obviously we weren't using Pro Tools and all that stuff. That didn't come out till much later. So, you had to go off the notes that was on the track sheet. So if they put the tempo down as, there was a whole lot of, 98.3, shit like that, or, it was some off, like most times, everybody's using Pro Tools is probably just, an even number, or, just a no point, nothing after the decimal.
Right.
And, so you would have to deal with sometimes it would drift off beat or, so it took a lot to get those records really to like lock in. But it was it taught you how to really like those DJ skills really came in handy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it would just drift just because the tape was weird. And you get it to lock up again and you punch in and you just keep going,
Right.
So it was I think, learning how to manipulate. I started in the studio, there was no Pro Tools. And then maybe a year and a half later, there was the beginning of what Pro Tools was turning into. It wasn't Pro Tools back then. It was something called Session 8.
Yes.
And it was just 8 tracks. And then after that, Pro Tools happened. Then we started getting digital tape and stuff like that. But it taught me everything. I grew into every version of what we use now is to record, and I still use some of the same techniques that I learned at Echo Sound in LA, just learning how to just and it makes my job way easier. And I like showing the young kids how to, you know, how to get some of the sounds that they're looking for, but they're looking for it in packs. I was like, nah, bro, we could do that with just no, that's that drum, you know.
Right.
It's like they trying to recreate it. I was like, dude, just that's substitution. Just use the drum from that.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right.
Right.
What equipment were you using back in those days?
First, well, the first thing I ever played, I had a Juno 106 and a Roland 707 drum machine.
Okay.
That's what I first started on. And then when I met Pooh, he had an SB 1200. And I think maybe a Roland keyboard or a D50 or something like that. And once we went to the studio, they had like this big, it basically looked like an SB 1200 with keys on it. I think it was called the E3.
Okay.
And it could play samples. It sampled, and it basically used it for like bass lines and keys and stuff. And then my partner Booker, his father is Booker T from Booker T and MGs.
Wow.
He I came over. I was his wife's best friend. I was dating her. So we're over there at the house hanging out, and he comes in the house with this big box. Say, hey, man, I just bought this thing, man. Everybody's saying this is going to be the next thing. I have no idea how to use it. When we popped it open, and I just sat there, smoking and drinking, and I'm just reading the manual. And I was like, dude, this thing is kind of cool. It does this. It's stereo. We geeking out. And I went back over to Pooh's house, and I said, dude, we got to get one of these the Lin oh god, what was the first one called? The MPC 60.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, we got to get one of these, man. And he went out. I think he may have gotten one the next day.
Wow.
Man. And I think I went to some music store, and I got I think Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. This is because I heard that they use it. So I went out and got this the Ensoniq keyboard, and we were using that for the bass lines, and I was like, yo, so I thought we had it, man. I think we had like just that keyboard. Oh, and I went and bought a Korg M1. You can hear, like, I don't know, anybody in here that's geeky enough to know keyboard sounds. The drums for sleeping on my couch is mostly Korg M1, the bass line,
okay.
the piano, the saxophone, all of that.
That makes so much sense now. Okay.
Right.
Yes. That makes so much sense now. Okay. Yeah. I got you. Yeah. Wow. That's so dope. What do you use now?
Oh man. There's a couple of keyboards in here. I got the well, you can't see it, but right here, I got the Akai MP the MPC, what is this, the 61 key?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm using that. I'm, obviously whoever's in the studio, if they need, we got Logic, Ableton, Pro Tools, Studio One. I prefer to use Studio One, and I'm using a lot of, the VSTs out right now. Serum is dope. Obviously I got, some turntables and a mixer over there, some records that, still got to dig in the crates and get some sounds. But yeah, most of the stuff is, I'm, like everybody else, I'm in the digital domain, we're doing everything mostly in the box. But I'm working on a project right now with a sister out in Atlanta. Her name is Kiki Monique. Her stuff is more vintage sounding, so I would put it on I would put it on like if she's kind of like Etta James was Erykah Badu or something. So she's got like a really raspy voice, but she can sing her ass off. And her stuff sounds really vintage. Think like Mark Ronson, Amy Winehouse type of sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think, just from being around in that era and just being coming up through those studios and seeing like the old cats and the the Dave Pensados and cats just do what they do. It just made me really, all of it rubbed off, and I take it with me everywhere, man. I think that, I could just pretty much produce anything I want,
Yeah.
No matter what, if we want that old gangster funk, I got that.
Right.
I got that. That's in me. You want to do, shout out to Jersey, you want to do some Jersey beats, I got those too.
Yes.
Right.
That's great. Ultra, Flatline, any questions for the man?
I just got to say, Rashad, I don't know if you've ever been to the Awesome 2 events in Hackensack, but they're gonna be starting up in the summer. You got to come up to one of them. It's a who's who of hip hop. Any day that they have them.
Oh, say less.
I'll let you know, because I'll be up there all the time. It's a great event. Great event.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Let me know, bro. I'll be there a day early. Let me know.
I got you.
Flatline?
No, man, I'm good. It's been incredible.
Yeah. So dope.
Appreciate you so much. Thank you for taking it.
I appreciate you guys for having me, man. It was real cool going back down memory lane, and I'm gonna have to kind of get that whole Bobby Jimmy and the Critters thing back in the box where I had it. But I appreciate it, man.
Hey, please let us know if Pooh still has the Boogeymen album, because
yeah,
you know what? I'm gonna reach out to him, man, in a few minutes. I'm gonna call him and ask him and see if he still got it. I'm pretty sure he's got that somewhere, man, because I remember that a few of them joints was they were so funky, like different, kind of junky, janky beats, but funky, right?
Yeah.
What was Same Old Thing a Dell song, or was that a Boogeymen song?
No, that was a Dell record. That started that started at and I think because I think if you listen to that song, I think Dell he definitely had 2 verses.
Yeah.
But he may have had a short third. And then me and Pooh, obviously, were in the studio working on the project, and we did this whole, Run DMC back and forth thing. It was kind of cool. Obviously I was, was writing rhymes and doing my own thing. My brother and I don't know if you hip to like local artists, but this cat Michael Myers.
Sure. Oh yeah, I forgot to ask about that. Yeah,
my man Michael Myers. This other cat, Born a Law.
Yeah.
We had this other 2 cats, Diction and Diverse. It was a 5-man rap group. We were signed to Geffen, and the name of the group was called Starting 5. And you could probably find we did a single that Nike picked up and used it to promote one of their shoes. If you could go on, I think you could go on YouTube and it's called Immediate Family Starting 5. And so we had a whole album. In fact, I think I have that album.
Wow.
So I might have to drop that. I think
Please.
you know, and I mean, we're not even talking about the stuff that I did with Michael Myers, you know. I think I'm on every record that he's had out.
Well, I know you did a song that went through many iterations because I remember them all. I Rap Black with Mr. Chuck.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was like when Mike hit me with the joint, I was like, yo, this is fire, man. I wish I could go back and do the track again because I have so many, like I have a lot of ideas for that. I mean, it would have been like, I'm thinking like when I was thinking Bomb Squad. I wanted it to just be that same intense feeling. But yeah, I Mike is man, one of my oldest friends. He had a record. I mean, he worked on we met on a set of a show called, I mean, it was a movie they were shooting called Gang Tapes. And he was doing the music for it. And so we did, I don't know, I think I may have put together in a week, we may have put together a whole album worth of tracks.
Wow.
And yeah, that he's in, he used some of those on his album, and I can't even tell you the volume of music just with Michael Myers it's a whole nother conversation.
Wow. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah.
No doubt.
All right. Well, yeah, please keep us posted on if any of these other things come to light.
Yes. Please.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, man. And if anybody you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Boogeymen Rashad. And yeah, definitely hit me up. I'm an open book. I'm always available for collabs, advice, not relationship advice, music advice. But yeah, I love just vibing out, man, with good people and definitely Ultra Mag. I'm definitely hitting you up, bro. And I appreciate you, man. I want to give you your flowers, man. I obviously I follow your content, and man, I love your content, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It's like I'm a real big fan, man, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
There you go. The proof that Rashad is not a sucker because he follows kids. This is a lesson for all the kids out there.
That's right.
Don't be a sucker. Follow all for
There you go.
Right. He probably already know because I'm always reposting his stuff. So
always entertaining, man.
Right. No doubt.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, all the remixes. Oh man, we can get into that conversation, bro.
We'll talk about that at Hackensack.
Salute, bro. Salute.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta get out to one of those too.
Yeah.
This summer, I'm telling you, I gotta be there. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. So
I'm with it.
Rashad, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And thank you for all the fantastic music you've given us over the years.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you. Thank you, Jen, for putting me on. I appreciate you, sis.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And anytime you got news or anything, new stuff you want to talk about, please come back. Let us know.
Say less.
All right. Excellent.
My man. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Look at Flatline. Look at Flatline. Look at Flatline.
Yo, man, like he's behind some of the greatest of the greatest of the greatest of the the fucking greatest.
The fucking greatest. Hands down, man. Hands down.
That's why I just have to kind of sit back during interviews like this and just let the man speak.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Just listen.
Exactly.
Because man, I mean, I got a lot of props which I didn't bring up, but you think about what they were doing in a small period of time.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
incredible. It's unmatched.
Yeah. It was just like they were just in the zone every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every time.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
So dope. That period, because I think a lot of times that it comes up like the obvious albums come up, right? The obvious records come up, the big records that came up, Cube's record and the Chronic, but even on the East Coast, there are certain records that always get discussed. But like talking about like Cam's first two albums, shit,
so dope. Like, yeah,
you know.
You brought up the Threat album.
The Threat album,
so slept on.
Yep.
And I'm glad you brought Nefertiti. I had forgotten that because that's a dope album that I don't know. It somehow I think it was because promo someone dropped the ball somewhere.
Someone dropped the ball somewhere because
Mercury. Hello.
Yeah, Mercury.
Right.
What didn't they drop the ball on?
Yeah.
But I was going down the DJ Pooh King T rabbit hole one night. And that's how I found about Nefertiti. I was like, what is this? I didn't, and I kind of remembered it being, see it in the store stuff. But I'm like, okay, well, I got to check it on, and I was just like, oh, come on, what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a whole, I don't know how long it goes on, but interviews and behind the scenes kind of crap when they were all on college tour, and it was Nefertiti, Yag Fu Front, and Diamond D.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
And I've got probably a good hour of it.
That's crazy. So, hey, Michael Myers in the place. Salute.
There he is.
Salute. Yo.
Michael Myers, we need you on the show. We got to get you on the show at some point.
Yeah.
I think I still have your number, Mike. I'll call you.
There
I'll
we
hit
go.
you. I'll text you. Yeah.
Right.
Real quick, Flatline had a very special episode tonight.
I did. Yep. I lost one of my good friends from way back, 35 years of friendship. And so on the new show, I just took it way back. All the material is between like 88 and 92. So PE, Ice Cube, Tribe, Digital Underground, Paris, Beastie Boys, Black Sheep. It's a tribute to my friend, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm really sad that he's gone, but it's all good. Yeah. So check it out. It's on Mixcloud and streaming on the Rap Station app.
There you go.
Yep.
And got to give a shout also to one of our sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get it? Records. Got it.
Yep. Oh.
Yeah. And wait, I'll hold Jennifer, this is yours. I gotta send it to you. So once we figure out where you're gonna be, Jennifer.
Ultra May, I don't know if you listen or not, but okay. I swear this is like it's custom made for you.
Bro, it starts out with the Jungle Brothers. What do you
I know.
Right?
Yep. I got halfway through it and I was just like, he's playing.
Yeah.
And there is a whole lot of Jersey artists on there.
There's
a lot of Jersey
on there.
Yeah. A whole lot of Jersey. Yes.
So impressed. Again.
Very good.
Does it again.
Yep.
Again.
So shout
this
out.
Number 9.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, because I might be pulling a fast one here. But keep talking. Keep going.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Can
I give another shout out?
Please do.
I want to shout out my man Confused Art. I think he's on Instagram, but we're friends via X. Anyway, he he drew this and sent it to me.
Wow, that's dope.
Oh, yeah.
He did this, and he did this.
Oh,
that's
okay.
dope too.
Which is crazy.
Little hand style.
He's got skills, and it's very, very nice of him. He did another. Well, I'm here. I have it in a frame, but he did this as well for me.
Wow.
Yo, that's dope.
That's ill.
Very dope. So big shout out to him, and yeah.
For some reason that made me think of that great skit that was making rounds about the kid comes home and the dad confronts him about graffiti. And yeah. And you think he's gonna give him yelling at him for doing graffiti. It's like, shit is whack, son. It's like, look at these styles of whack, and he's like, no. Oh god, I love that.
So good.
Think about that. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's so true. It's like, oh, it makes so much sense. Yeah. It's like well, Davey wouldn't because he's into the old timey music, but
Oh, right.
Come home and try to spit rhymes at me one day and be like, yo, man, get your pen game right, son. Gotta be a good father like that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yes. So there's that, and there's that.
Yep.
Run it down. Maybe there's a new episode of Body Hat Weekly tomorrow. It's hard to say. They might put up an archive episode. Yeah, we never know. But shout out to Dave Sy and Mocha Only and Body Hat Weekly show. Maybe there's a new episode or something else. I don't know. But you can go check out their other ones. They are usually here, though, Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or manageable 8 p.m. on the Pacific side of things. And then, of course, the Angie Don't Stop radio show on Friday nights, Saturday nights, whatever it goes up. And with Flatline, Mr. Chuck D, myself, and a host of others, I have the Spit Slam Jam of the Week. And then Jennifer and Flatline, Jennifer and Ultramag and DJ
Flatline says nope.
Yeah. And Flatline does not do anything with it. Yeah. Sunday nights, right here on Channel Zero with the mixtape, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Soulbuck spins the music of our next week's guest. So, who we got coming up?
We got. Tell him.
DJ Kevy Kev.
DJ Kevy Kev next week.
And guess
right
who
now,
just pulled a rabbit out of a hat?
And right now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Peace. What's good, man? I heard my name was being thrown out, so I thought
thrown around, man.
He was summoned.
Yep.
I thought I'd pop in, man. I appreciate the respect, man. I really dig that.
No, yeah. Rashad was on, so he was brought up working with you, and and then we had to bring up the I Rap Black track, you and Mr. Chuck D, and
that's a dream come true, man. Like that's my childhood idol, man. So like to be able to be on a song with him and be one of the contemporaries, man, was dope.
Yeah, yes, sir. So, how are things with you? We'll make this quick right now, and we'll do a proper episode with you.
For sure, man. I've been cool, man. I just got my doctorate, man, in educational leadership. So that's kind of why I've been off the grid for a minute. But I am working on a new record, man. I'm excited about it. It's really, really dope, man. Can't wait for y'all to hear it. But I just wanted to pop in, man, let you know I'm accessible, man. So whenever you want to get out and really have a real conversation, man, just let me know.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
There's your neighbor, Vashawn.
Yeah.
VQ in the house. Yep. So
that's my guy.
Mike, Jennifer will set it up, and we'll get you on. We'll have a proper episode and go through the catalog and your history and
indeed,
and then talk about the new record you got coming out.
For sure, man. I'm excited about it, man. But yeah, I just thought I'd tap in, man. I didn't want to interrupt your flow, but thought I'd tap in to let you know that you can get at me. It's all good.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you, sir. So
yes.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. We're wrapping up the show. So Mike, you're here for the end.
All right. It's hell of an ending, though.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So everybody out there, thank you for watching live. Thanks for watching the replay. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. We got a lot of great stuff right here at Channel Zero. And we will see everybody next week for another episode of It's CDOC again.
Peace.
Peace.